Alright boys, welcome back. Today we're going to be reacting to how to edit so good your views get addicted to your videos. So let's get into this one.
Imagine your editing is so good that your viewers can't resist watching until the end. I want that for you, so I've boiled down my years of editing experience into a 4-pillar formula. By the way, you'll have to take note today because we are going way deeper than basic things like cutting out dead space. Editing is so much more than that, and
yeah, no, for real, there is like so much in editing. Like there's so much you need to learn to become like good at editing. Like right now, I'm not like insane at editing because I haven't been doing it for very long. But if you do it for so long, for like long periods of time, you'll get like really good at editing. It's all about trying to add in more than just kind of trimming it, because if you're just trimming your recording, then you got to add some sound effects. It also depends on like what kind of video you're shooting. Like if it's like say it's like this kind of content that I'm filming right now, this content, like it's really all you need is to just trim it up, because the face cam and this videos already do all the work for me. But if you're doing like a more of a challenge video or something like that in that realm, you'll probably need to do more advanced editing for that kind of stuff.
let's be real, your video deserves so much more than that. A great editing style may get you perfect watch time and millions of views, but it may also leave you with terrible view counts and broken dreams. To figure out why, let's start with this.
Oh yeah, that's true. If you do too much, it really hurts you. Like you don't want to add too much effects. Like say okay, this is a good example. Like you go in CapCut, you go to a template. Dude, that's too much. Too much editing and too much transitions. You want just a smooth, all around good edit for your videos.
It's just this guy, Sam, in his car talking and then working out. The video lasts 26 minutes but has just 17 cuts and no other form of editing. How many views, how many subscribers do you expect him to have? So this means that editing is optional, right? Wait, slow down. That's not what's going on here. Sam did edit. He cut out all the boring parts that the viewer didn't come to see, but he left it at that.
Yeah, like for example, like when I did my office chair video with one of my friends, Grady, I always was like cutting out the bad parts, the boring parts. You got to keep in like the action-packed parts. That's what makes it do well. Like, so if you're making like a shorter content, you really want to dial down on your more boring parts. You want to add more of your impactful parts. Like say you're crashing, you want to add that. That's more entertaining, and you always want to add a hook in the video, because that will honestly that just grabs their attention. So the first 3 seconds are like the most important part.
Because his viewers aren't looking for a super stimulating experience. They just want to feel like they're spending time with someone. A bunch of quick cuts and flashy animations would ruin that authentic experience that the viewer wanted. And guess what? A disruption of what the viewer came to the video for is the best way to make them stop watching. And while Sam edits with an average of 90 seconds between cuts, MrBeast does quite the opposite. So if both editing styles work, what should you do? Start with considering what experience your viewers want. Sam's editing tells us that millions of people come to YouTube to feel like they're hanging out with.
Yeah, it always depends on what your viewers want. Like if they don't want like all the different shorter clips, then if they come to your video and your video is a different style, they're going to be like, well, this is not what I came for, so I'm out. So you kind of have to gauge on what it honestly involves your niche as well, and like what your viewers want. You got to kind of figure out what your viewers want and what your demographic is of your videos.
MrBeast's rapid fire style shows that a ton of people go on YouTube for entertainment. All your editing choices contribute to that experience. For example, cutting out.
Majority of YouTube is just for entertainment. Like, I mean, I don't go on YouTube to just like look. I mean, I guess I'll go on YouTube to like figure out how to do something. Like, say my truck breaks down and I need to fix it. I'm gonna use YouTube to help me fix it. Most people just go on it for just entertainment purposes.
All your pauses so that you're speaking constantly is easily the most important thing for entertainment, but it takes away from authenticity. An effective editing style takes all these choices into account. So as I reveal the reasoning behind my editing for my first 3 uploads, take notes on what you should add to your own videos based on what suits your audience the best. This video is not a bunch of tutorials, it's a handbook to addictive editing. Think of it as a foundational starting point to know what tutorials you should even watch in the first place. I want you to look at this. There's a problem here. This is the timeline of a typically edited YouTube video. A couple cuts have removed the unnecessary bits. There was a tangent here that wasn't really relevant to the video's greater purpose. These cuts removed pauses, and these removed bad takes. But in its current form, this video is...
You always want to have someone talking. That's kind of what I figured out. If you're like not talking, and say you're filming like a gaming video, and you're just not talking, and they're just watching you play the video game, and that's not what they came here for. Like, say Clicks, everybody's there for his gameplay because he's so good at the game. But if you're not good at the game, you should be focusing more on talking and being more verbal instead of more relying on the clips in the game or whatever.
Doomed to fall short of its potential. The reason is this video isn't using its visuals to maximize attention. Think about this. When you see a change in your vision, like something moving abruptly, it gets your attention. The same is true for watching a video. And here, there's only 3 different things to look at in the span of a minute. Kinda boring, but if the video were to switch between A-roll, B-roll, and other types of footage every few seconds, it would keep attention much better. However, there is a drawback to changing what's on screen too much. Try to notice it as we go over how different types of footage should be used to maximize engagement. A-roll. This is when you can both see and hear the subject at the same time. It feels personal and holds attention really well if you're speaking with confidence. Use it for short periods of time when you're saying something important. B-roll. This is extra footage recorded separately from the...
Yeah, you definitely want to keep your B-roll footage more on the shorter side, and you're talking your whatever he says, A-roll on the more lengthy side. Because if you have too much of B-roll, people are going to be more like, they're going to leave. They're not going to want to watch that. They're there for you. That's why they're watching this. They're there for you. They're not there for, I guess, unless you're like a videographer. I mean, they're there for you to talk and you to entertain them.
It creates a visual depiction of your words, letting the viewer see what you're talking about instead of just having to look at your face. This lets you get things across much more clearly, and faster too. It's more interesting than A-roll, so use it as much as possible. Some variants of B-roll are stock footage, which is just a lazy version, and motion graphics. These improve explanation times a ton. Look at how quickly a complicated thing was explained in this Dude Perfect video.
Did you find something?
Nope. I found a suspicious-looking math problem over by the pool table, and it appears that I need to use the pool balls and the numbers on them to form some kind of solution.
You really need to understand how crucial that editing choice.
Also, when you're doing your B-rolls, you want to have kind of a voiceover for them, so people don't get disengaged, because when they hear your voice explaining something, it makes them want to like stay.
That was an essential but boring moment in the video's story. Any attempt to use A-roll or a normal B-roll in this moment would either be too slow or terribly confusing, both of which would lose viewers. But an animation explained it crystal clear and fast. That's the sort of editing choice you need to make to create an addictive video. If you've been following my channel, then you've probably noticed I've only uploaded 3 videos. And with that, I've gotten over 300,000 views and like 13,000 subscribers. What makes it crazier is that I haven't promoted these videos anywhere. I just uploaded them on YouTube and
it's just all about your retention rate. If your retention rate is high, you're going to get more views, which it's really hard to get a good retention rate. Like, it is super hard. But honestly, I think like and dislike ratio does not mean more than your retention. Getting that viewer to stay as long as possible is what determines how well your video does, in a sense.
Completely by themselves because of all the YouTube knowledge I've gotten over the years. I got a channel last year that I got to like 60,000 subscribers and over 24 million views. So naturally, I've been getting a ton of comments and emails of people asking me to help them out. So I want to let you know that I'm releasing my calendar below, but it's for serious creators only. If that sounds interesting to you, then you can book a call below to learn how to grow your YouTube channel. And by the way, the spots are extremely limited at the moment, so don't miss out. Now, you probably remember from earlier, there's a drawback to cutting between different clips a ton. All of this visual variety can quickly become visual mush if you're doing it wrong. Let's say you want to be engaging, so you're trying to cut between different clips literally as much as possible. You risk making things confusing, which hurts engagement. To avoid that, don't minimize shot duration just for the sake of minimizing shot duration. It's okay to leave the same clip on screen for 10 seconds if it's interesting for 10 seconds. And oftentimes,
It really all just depends on the video. Like, if say you're doing like gameplay video and you're fighting in a battle in Fortnite or whatever, and you're not talking, I mean, that you can keep on, but if you're just sitting there walking around in Fortnite, it's not very engaging.
Some engagement spice to your video doesn't even require cutting to another clip. Instead, use some of these tricks to make things way more immersive. First, give some movement to any boring still clips you have. Make either the scale or position slowly change. Or even better, make things fancy by changing their perspective. You can also do more abrupt scale changes to draw attention to certain things. For example, when I say something important in an A-roll segment, I'll zoom in close to my face to subtly communicate to the viewer up. You might also make wiggle keyframes. That's when you see images or text or maybe the whole video shaking around. You never see me doing this because I don't like the way it looks, but if you want to do it, then go ahead.
Some other people will like use like face tracking. So like, say I moved over here, say I moved over here. They'll move the screen to your face. That also helps with engagement. Honestly, I don't really do that, but it can help.
Next, throw on a bunch of visuals on top of your footage. Many people make the mistake of adding captions just to jack up the visual variety. But don't forget that drawback that we talked about. Using captions to fill in dead space can quickly become obnoxious and ruin a great opportunity to use a more engaging visual. So I only use captions when I want the viewer to understand and pay closer attention to certain words. But if there's really nothing else to put on screen, captions are often still better than nothing. Also, keep them to 3 words or less at a time because it makes them easier to read. Now, let's say you're showing an image to the viewer. If you plainly show the whole thing like this, it's boring. And more importantly, it's confusing. To make things crystal clear and create some visual variety, guide the viewer's attention to the focus point of the image. Here are 6 ways
So you
that
kind of want to, I'm guessing he's going to say you kind of want to zoom in to what the views, whatever was on display there. You want to like zoom into the views, zoom out, zoom in. You want to use more of your dynamic zooms, and that will help you to be able to create more engagement. I think that's what he's gonna say here in a second.
do that, which go beyond just scaling and positioning. Take notes, because this is what gives you professional looking timelines like these. Animate the most important piece of text or area of the image being highlighted. Darken or blur the area that surrounds the focus point of the image. Shift the hue of the image to make it red, and it gives the image a negative connotation. You can also shift it to yellow or green to make it seem positive. Circles, arrows, and underlines also work. Oh, and one extra. Make the subject glow. Another immersion hack is to just make the video look good. This could be color grading, adding a vignette, or some subtle particle animations.
I normally will just, sometimes I'll add a filter onto my video to make it seem more like vintage. Sometimes that's just an example. Like if you want it to look more vintage, say you'll put like a 1990s filter on. But if you want it to look more like new, you put like a 4K filter on. And I find that helps with my videos sometimes, and that will bring in more engagement when you have a better visual and it fits the vibe, I guess.
Topic of making things look good, let's bring our focus to making things feel good. This next pillar literally makes your video a digital morphine stream. So we've talked about visual variety, but now let's talk about visual continuity. If you manage to create a seamless feed of visuals, then there's no rough edges, no areas for distraction to build up, there's no point where the viewer loses immersion. The goal for this pillar is to make every moment blend into the next seamlessly. The editing should be invisible. The experience...
This is like the hardest part, is just trying to make your video smooth. That is like something I find super hard, is being able to incorporate these different elements, but making your video smooth. Because if you go too much, it just doesn't look good.
It's mesmerizing. Anytime a graphic comes on screen, it can't just magically appear there. That doesn't make sense. It needs to somehow move into the frame. Check the description for my free presets. Now, you don't have to animate things. You can also let something magically appear on screen, but then explain how it got there using a sound effect. I like to use the shutter sound effect.
I like to use the pop sound effect. It's just like, and then it just pops on the screen, and then it kind of engages the viewer, and it's not just like, bang, just right on the screen. It helps a lot.
Pop sound or something like that also works. Now this is super important.
Like I said.
I just made a cut, but I messed up the most crucial rule of doing a cut. In the last frame of this first clip, the viewer is looking right here in my eyes. Then a tiny fraction of a second later, in the first frame of the second clip, the viewer is now expected to look here. That's a little jarring, and it breaks some of the immersion that your editing should be providing. Imagine if every cut the viewer had to keep changing focus from one side of the screen all the way to the other. This right here is a pretty unimmersive viewing experience. Another way to make cuts seamless is using a full screen transition. There's plenty of free packs out there, but if you like my subtle style of them, then I got something for you in the description. And don't be afraid to break visual continuity every now and then, because remember, it jolts the viewer. It'll get their attention. Look at this timeline. We've been talking about all these ways to make the video.
See, there's so much that goes into editing. Like, it's more than people understand. It's like, there's so many different transitions you have to use. There's so many different filters, different elements, different effects. It's just all over the place, and it's really hard to master. And I've been really trying to get better at it, but it's just really hard. It's just really hard subject to master.
We're visually addicting to watch, but we've been leaving out the other half of the video. There is
which is sound.
Whole nother sense for your viewer to experience the video in. Pillar 4, immersive audio. Sound design makes the viewer experience every cut, transition, animation, and piece of footage through a second sense. It's literally double the stimulation, and it can be used to influence the mood that the viewer has, which is an engagement superpower that we'll talk about more once we get to your music choice. But for now, the first step of sound design is to gather a bunch of sounds to work with. I already got that for you.
I have a lot of different sound effects that I have just as presets, and then I'll use these sound effects in the videos, and that helps if you just save those sound effects so you can use them in future videos, and that's kind of what I do. So
start with that free sound design pack of copyright-free sounds that I made for you in the description. If you need more, check out freesound.org or get Epidemic Sound. Next, go through your video and basically just add sound effects wherever it makes sense. When something moves, you should add a whoosh sound, and when something's highlighted, a highlight sound. Now comes the engaging part. These next 3 types of sound effects literally hijack your viewers' emotions and suck them into the video. First are risers. They build tension and anticipation because they communicate to the audience that something really important is about to happen, but only use them if something important is actually going to happen, or else they will lose their reputation and won't be effective. Yeah. Next are hits. These release tension and emphasize moments, making them feel important. You can use these on their own or place a riser before them. It depends on the situation. And again, don't overdo them. Finally, drones. These create a feeling of mystery and intrigue.
Yeah, you 100% don't want to overdo that, because that literally just throws off the entire video. Because if you're using too many risers, too many effects, sound effects, it could really throw off the viewer's emotions.
They're reserved more for darker moods, creating a lot of underlying suspense. These sound effects are so good because they kind of manipulate the viewer's emotions, which is so powerful because the more emotionally invested the viewer is, the more engaged they are. And these sound effects are just the tip of the iceberg to achieve this. Below the surface is a massive potential for emotional investment, your music choice. For example, I like to find songs that create a feeling of anticipation, which makes the viewer constantly believe I'm about to say something super important. Then during a segment where I'm giving groundbreaking advice, I use a song that gives an innovative
I
feeling.
have a hard time finding sounds though, because I have to sometimes go onto YouTube and try to find different like presets and different, or not presets, but like different YouTube videos that aren't copyright, because it's really hard to find songs that aren't copyright. I feel like every single thing that you could possibly think of is copyright. So I have to like look and like I'll type in, say I'm trying to find like a beat to put in my video. I'll put like Drake type beat. That's kind of what I do. I don't know if that's what other people do, but I really have a hard time finding good sound choices.
Which creates a ton of excitement over what I'm saying. This is super straightforward to pull off. Separate your video based on subject changes, and then decide the mood the viewer should have for each subject. By the way, you should spend a lot of time finding the right music because it is really important that it fits. You can find some good copyright-free songs on the YouTube audio library, and there's the occasional gem artist like Lemino, which offers free songs. But to be honest, subscribing to a licensed music platform is the best choice if you're gonna take YouTube seriously. I'm not sponsored, but I saved like 4 hours with them last time, and I found way better songs. I have an affiliate link for them in the description. Okay, this is gonna
That's
sound
probably what I'm gonna need to do, because I'm just searching everywhere to try to find sounds, and that don't even sound very good.
crazy, but there's even more you can do with your music choice to immerse the viewer. Like, what do you think happens if you pause the music abruptly? The sudden change will jolt the viewer, getting their attention. Also, the lack of music brings attention to other parts of the video. So for special moments, try pausing the music to elevate that moment. Now, what if you instead let the music slowly fade out? Once the viewer notices that the music is going away, they'll understand that the segment they're watching is coming to a close. This realization gives them anticipation of something new coming. Okay, let's get even more advanced. Beyond just making the mood of the song match the tone of the segment it's in, upgrade your music by syncing the hits and dips of the song to the video. For example, in this segment, I introduced the problem here and began teaching the solution here. I line things up so that at this exact moment, the music picks up. Doing that marks a clear topic shift from problem to solution, and also makes the solution segment more exciting. And if you're wondering why I have 4 music tracks playing at the same time, it's because I downloaded the separate elements of the song. That's another feature of Epidemic
That
Sound.
is too much. I feel like that's just being able to learn the actual elements of the music is super hard, and I would not be able to do that. So I always just try to find like a preset or something like that. I can't do that kind of stuff.
Which is super helpful. Alright, I hope that helped. Now, there's a lot more to retention, so click here for a video on that.
All right, boys, W video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please go down there, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.